Are we on?
Oh, yeah, there's one there. There's one there from Suman Snag saying time zone or no time zone. Do you
But I
both
think
go
that's
to
out.
sleep?
I think that's out. What? Oh, sorry. Are we on?
Oh, God. Wake up, Bharat, wake up. Could someone just roll the bumper? Okay. Hello and welcome to the good, the bad, the ridiculous for day one of the third test even between India and England. Yes, we're awake. We are honestly awake now, although that was not a fake yawn. We're quite tired from staying up very late, which just makes us understand cricket fans all over the world who have to watch cricket that way, unlike us privileged idiots who usually get to watch it in the correct time zone. Are you wakey, Bharat?
I think I'm pretty fresh now. I mean, I'm sitting with a pillow like you saw, just in case. Just in case I do just nod off. It won't happen when you're talking, Mel. Don't worry. Like, and how can I?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm safe. Might happen.
At least the thing was, watching the first day of the test, there was no chance of falling asleep through it because so much happened. And so we have plenty to get through on this show today. And we'll hopefully be able to take some of your nominations at the end as well. So let us know what you're thinking. Now, Kaushik Arunagiri nominates as ridiculous route selections on a turning pitch. Well, to be fair, it's not just Joe Root. That, of course, was a huge talking point early on. England going for the seam option, which we did think that they might do when we were speaking before the test started. India very much expecting turn early on this pitch by the way that they decided on their team. But look, at the end of the day, it's a bit hard to blame England selecting of spinners for their batting performance. England selection is seamers rather for their batting performance, because I don't think it really matters too much which way you go on the bowling selections if you've got nothing to defend. It's going to be a pretty tough ask for any of the bowlers. But we have seen spin very, very early, and some extravagant spin too, Bharat.
Yeah, and I think I don't know how you can say India have got their selection right either.
Yeah.
Because just looking at that pitch, they should have picked 5 spinners, not just 3. And of the 3, one didn't even get to bowl. So
yes, Washi didn't even get to bowl. It was amazing, wasn't it? That's how good the other 2 did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember like Virat Kohli having a chat with Jasprit Bumrah very early on in the piece, and to me it looked like him telling him, I know this is your first test in front of your home fans. This is your first test at the Motera, but does not mean that I need to come to you at all. So you can just relax it fine. Like if a catch comes your way, take it like he did later on in the day. You won't be used too much. But, if I was the opposition playing England, the one bowling attack, if I'm looking at their bowling lineup, seeing Anderson, Archer, and Broad play together, regardless of the pitch, regardless of the condition, that's exactly what I wouldn't want, right? I mean, that's a world-class attack. You're talking over 1,100 Test wickets, and Jofra Archer. That has to be one of the best pace attacks in the world in a long, long time. So it's just a question of England not putting runs on the board. We spoke about the toss earlier in the earlier tests. Like, one thing winning the toss, but like you always say, Mel, you need to do something with it. And England certainly did not. It wouldn't have mattered if they had played 7 spinners. If you get bowled out for 112, yeah, you've left your bowlers with nothing to bowl at.
Yeah, well, you've actually just preempted, I think, our next nomination from In the Air, a cricket fan podcast. Good. England won the toss and bat first. Bad. England won the toss and bat first. Ridiculous. England won the toss and bat first. It was that kind of thing. Again, we spoke about this beforehand. In not knowing so much about this test, about the ball behaving, about the particular ground, about the pitch. There is so much about the dew. We didn't even really talk about the dew earlier and the dew factor that may come into it. And so much then is made. I love the fact that, trying to turn a negative into a positive, or the whole 5D chess theory, which that I love, of England timing it just right to perhaps get Anderson bowling and Broad bowling with the new ball just as twilight was approaching. I don't think that was really that much of a positive for them after putting such a small total on the board. But it's just one of those things. We did say that before. If you win the toss, they won the toss in the first test, and they really made the most of it by putting a big score on the board. You have to make the most of it in this series. The way the pitches are going, if you have the opportunity to bat first, that is a really huge opportunity. But you have to cash in on it, and England did not cash in on it whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, you would bat first, especially in a pink ball test. One of the main reasons the toss is important is it, at least on paper, gives you the opportunity to take decisive calls in with regards to declaration, or when you want your bowlers bowling, or getting them to bowl when the conditions are best for them. That's the only advantage you get by winning the toss and batting first in a pink ball test. But like you said, if you just blow that opportunity away, blow that chance away. Yes, India bowled well, but I thought England played pretty poorly yesterday. I think it was one of their worst batting performances in the subcontinent in a long time. Yeah, they struggled in Chennai in the second test, but yeah, you could see that they were just playing my games with themselves in the mind. Once you let the Indian spinners enter your head in a series like this, yeah, there's very, very few chances for you to come back. And yeah, it is good, bad, and ridiculous, like our friends at the In the Air Cricket podcast have put forth. But yeah, you couldn't blame Joe Root for it.
No, and you're right. I mean, I think that India's spinners, Ashwin and now Axar, are just basically living rent-free in the England batters' heads. Now, I've got two here that are related. Arpan at the Cricket Head nominates batting. It's actually nominating Beastie Boy, which is you, Bharat, batting for Shamsuddin to come in as the umpire, thinking he might be the no-nonsense umpire. Well, ridiculous. His hurry whenever any decision gets sent to him. Why is he in such a hurry? Gives a bad name, that's all. And Pranav Sharma says ridiculously bad English players' reaction after that overturned decision. That's obviously talking about the Ben Stokes, claiming a catch that was then deemed to be not a catch and not out. How did you see that, Bharat? We have been on that bandwagon for the third umpire.
We have. And see, maybe what Shamsuddin is doing is clearly seen that the cricketers or the players these days don't seem to care about over rates. So maybe at least he's trying to make sure that the overs are bowled in time by not wasting too much time with his third umpire decision. It's an interesting one, right? As an umpire, you're always in that position. When you know it's not out, it's very similar to the square leg umpire or the umpire at the bowler's end, going to the third umpire for every run out appeal, every stumping appeal, even on occasions when he knows it's clearly not out. But it's just become a norm now where, like, you see umpires go upstairs, as they say. But there are very few umpires who take that decision on the field. And it's similar in this case as well. I mean, Shamsuddin, and you could see in that replay, it was pretty clear that like the ball had touched the ground. I thought it was very, very obvious. And he decided, he saw it and he took a call. Yes, maybe you could have just so that to make sure nobody says that he was too quick, or to eliminate any talk of bias, he should have looked at the other replay. But in my opinion, why? I mean, you're there to make a decision, and if you can make a decision using one replay, why waste time for another replay? So I'm totally with Shamsuddin there.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you, because you say, why waste time? Now, if we've got enough time in a match to check the wicket of a player who has been bowled, then we've got time to check a couple of replays, whatever replays are available. Now, you can think that it was out, but you can also think that he probably should have checked at least one more replay, particularly from side on. Having worked in a lot of TV production trucks, you really learn that certain things can be very deceptive on a TV angle, depending on what the angle is, depending on how high up the camera is, the depth and the length of the lens involved, which is why, I mean, you just think about it when the number of times when you see a ball, when they're checking to see if a ball has hit the boundary rope, when a player is fielding, and it looks like it's definitely for one way, but then you look at another angle and actually, oh no, there's a lot more doubt there. So those things can be a little bit deceptive when you look at it. I'm not saying it was in this case, and maybe that was the best one that was available. From his own words, he said it's clearly bounced, so he felt that way. It's a question of the process, though. You can't, I don't think you should perhaps look at one angle for some of those close catches and 3 or 4 angles for other ones, because you want to have consistency across the board. And as you mentioned, we are in a time where we can't have neutral umpires. So I think it's more important than ever to just have consistency across there. Again, that doesn't mean he made the wrong decision, but, eliminate the doubt, eliminate the controversy. That being said, England's reaction to that was definitely over the top to all come around the umpire. I mean, the on-field umpire can't change a thing. It came across looking petty, and I think it really rattled the umpires. I didn't enjoy seeing the similar kind of thing from India earlier on in the series. So if you don't enjoy seeing one team doing it, you probably shouldn't enjoy the other team. Well, you shouldn't enjoy seeing the other team doing it. So there's a whole heap of things in there. That's what I think. It comes down to pros and cons. What's the con of checking all the replays that are available to you? A little bit of extra time. I think the pros of actually showing that you've gone through the process fully and maybe even getting a better angle that eliminates doubts, I think that outweighs that one con. It's the only con I can think of. That's what
I think it's about time that we had a disagreement. I think we've been agreeing on a lot of things for a long time now, Mel. It's been 6 or 7 years now, I think. So, yeah, finally, look at this. It's happening on air. So once the camera is turned off, we can call each other and have a proper showdown. I look forward to it, especially now I know that you can't physically harm me.
That's okay. You think that. Maybe you should get someone to check your food.
Oh, okay. Considering I cook it myself these days, I'll be even more worried. But the thing is, you spoke about the Virat Kohli dismissal in the Chennai test, but we didn't have Shamsuddin as third umpire. Maybe if we had Shamsuddin, he would have not even, as soon as they went to the third umpire, he would have been like, okay, you're on screen now, just give it out.
That's true, but that's why there should be a standard process. So it doesn't matter which umpire's there, they're all going by the same process. And we see that a lot. Inconsistency is not great, particularly in a time when we don't have neutral umpires. And I'm not saying they're biased. I'm just saying it's just about perception. A lot is about perception.
Yeah, but just about the English players' reactions, that I think I tweeted about Virat Kohli and how home captains have started putting a lot of pressure on home umpires, and familiarity cannot lead to contempt. But at the same time, you don't want opposition captains either, crowding around the umpire. I think the whole confusion was the soft signal, right? Because the soft signal was out, and that's what Joe Root kept pointing a finger at the umpire. Never do that to an umpire, even if you're talking about something else. It looks very bad on TV, Joe Root. But that was the whole confusion, I think, for the English guys.
You say that though, that the fact that the soft signal was out, that gives even more reason to double check the angles. I think that's even more reason, because the soft signal was out. So that was the one. You've got to find very clear reasons to overturn that. That's just my opinion. You can all disagree. You won't change my mind. Now, moving right on from that, Boney nominates Rohit Sharma and close stumpings. The third umpire may ask for a raise with the way things are going. Stand an inch behind, man. It's all about the third umpire today.
I know. But, Boney, I don't think it's about Rohit Sharma standing an inch behind, man. Yeah, I mean, it might help. You might have a point. But the thing is, every time he plays the front foot defensive shot to a spinner, because Rohit Sharma is as good a batsman as he is, he's not always, or he's not the kind of batsman who always picks the length right with a spinner. That's why you'll always see him stretching a little more. And often you'll see when he plays that front foot defensive shot, his back foot does kind of drag out. And that's why he gets into trouble with stumping. Rangana Herath used to trouble him a lot in very similar fashion. Similar kind of bowler to Jack Leach, though shorter in stature, and of course, no comparison in terms of credentials. But it is a thing. It will always happen with Rohit Sharma, and it has a lot to do, like I said, with the fact that he's not always sure whether he's going to get to the pitch of the ball. He's not as assured about his footwork against spin as maybe a Kohli or a Pujara, and that's why that happens. And it'll keep happening. And when you have a keeper like Ben Foakes, who's like quick draw McGrath behind, you can't help it. You have to be maybe safer.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about how good the folks keeping has been, particularly to spin. So he's going to be, he'll be prowling and prancing, prowling, maybe not prancing, that would be weird, any time that Rohit's at the crease. Now we have one from A. Mahanti, who nominates good Zach Crawley's innings, the only bit of good cricket in an otherwise shambolic England performance. You know, it is funny that you can cling to the beauty of a half century. That really does say a lot about England's batting performance as a whole. You can see we've got his figures up there. Notice 111 minutes at the crease, the old superstitious Nelson, of course, for England. Not that I believe in superstitions or jinxes, but it was really funny. I mean, I know other players have played really great batting innings throughout this series, but there was just something about that. It was amazing. It was like the bat was just kissing the ball. He was just using pure timing, and I basically needed to go and have a cold shower after watching him that batting performance, because it was beautiful to watch. That's probably the only positive you could take it all out of that. And when you're looking in the context of the series, a half century is a pretty small highlight to have. So Zach Crawley looks great. Great battle, I thought, between him and Akshar Patel. That I found that to be a very interesting one, and obviously one that was troubling him, I think, more than anything else. And he also did clearly find the seamers easier to play than he did the spinners. But yes, it was good, and yes, England were shambolic.
England were very, very shambolic, and Zach Crawley was very, very easy on the eye. I think we spoke about him in the preview about how good he looked against Yashir Shah last year when he made that big double 100. And that's the thing. We spoke a lot about Cam Green, if you remember, a tall guy who looks so balanced at the crease. It's very stylish in the way he plays his shots. And Zach Crawley is kind of similar, maybe a couple of inches shorter than Cam Green, I would think. But he's so assured in his footwork. We spoke about Rohit Sharma not being as assured as Kohli and Pujara, but I thought Crawley used his feet really well to the spin, used his height to his advantage. And some of those shots, it was almost like there was India playing this test match on one end, and then there was Zach Crawley. It was almost like we were seeing this warped highlights package where two matches just got intertwined somehow, and Zach Crawley was batting it in one match, and then the other English batsman in the other match. Especially the flicks he played of the seamers, and even the drives he played of Akshar Patel. Looks like a special player. I was slightly disappointed that he got out on 53, because I went and dug out John Crawley's first test against India, and he made 64 and 100 not out. So I thought, well, Zach Crawley is doing a Crawley against India, but he fell 11 shots, so of course he'll make 89 in the second innings. 89.
Oh, well, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll come back to that. Now, we have a couple here about one particular man. Sagar nominates as ridiculous. How accurate was Akshar Patel? Every over he was bowling, couple of wicket-taking deliveries, and that mixture of arm ball and stock left-arm spin bowling was breathtaking. And Rohal nominates as ridiculous. Akshar coming in and overshadowing Ashwin in the bowling department. That was brilliant. There was a sequence that showed about where he was pitching the ball, and every ball was pitching in exactly the same spot, but where it ended up was completely different, just with the natural variations, and clearly really hard for the batters to be able to spot anything coming out of the hand. It made me think, it's sort of a bit of a put down to say, oh yeah, he got out to a straight one. That kind of does a disservice to the bowler sometimes, and perhaps is a bit hard on the batters in that it's all about the balls around it, not necessarily the one that goes on straight. And the way he did that was absolutely brilliant. I called him, Bharat, I needed to hear because I called him 6R Patel when he got his 6 wickets. And then someone informed me on Twitter that 6R means impotent. And it's like a translation of something. Yeah, I don't know in which particular dialect or language, but I was told this. He was anything but impotent. Let's just say that. He had it all going on.
Oh, he had it all going on indeed. And so did all his deliveries, most of his deliveries anyway. Oh God, we're speaking of impotency and deliveries in the same sentence. I never thought I'd do that on a cricket show, but there you go. Yeah, I'd never heard of that. Like, is it in an Indian, like one of the Indian languages? I have no idea.
I think so. Maybe someone can tell us.
Yeah, maybe someone can tell us if 6R means, or if it means anything at all. But well, he was a 6R Patel anyway. Yesterday, 6-4 Patel. He's different to a traditional left-arm spinner, and I thought Karthik Murli or Murli Karthik in the commentary box, who we both have certain links with, explained why he's different and why he's effective. I thought really well in the commentary box. He spoke about how his release is not from there, but it's slightly from there. He kind of turns his wrist around. So as a result, the ball doesn't, like, you can't pick out whether it's going to turn or not because it's coming like a saucer, to quote Karthik. And you said it, you put it perfectly. I mean, it's one thing blaming batsmen for getting out to straight balls, but it's the accuracy that sets you up. If you keep bowling on the same spot, and if one turns and if one goes straight on, that's when you make the mistake. That's when you fall to the straight ball. If you are all over the place, like Dom Bess was, you're never going to get batsmen out playing for the straight ball. So I think it was his accuracy that really did the trick for Akshar Patel. It's always done the trick for him. It was good to see him succeed on his home ground, in front of his home fans. Like we said, we spoke about Bumrah earlier. On a day, controversial statement coming up, the stadium went from being the Sardar Patel Stadium to the Narendra Modi Stadium, even though the enclave is still called the Sardar Patel Enclave. So you just knew that it would be a Patel leading the team of the field.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, England are going to have to come up with some plans to deal with him pretty quick smart if they're going to have any chance in this series. Sushil Dev nominates as ridiculously good intention ball given from Ashwin to Bumrah so as to keep England batting during the twilight period. I love these 5D chess theories, 5D chess theories. I'm not actually sure. I think people give a little, sometimes too much credence to players thinking we have to do this at this time in this match. Basically, if you score as many runs as you possibly can, or you get as many wickets as quickly as you possibly can, you're probably going to be in the driver's seat no matter what time of day is. And you don't even know if the ball's going to do anything different. There's no guarantees.
Yeah, maybe, especially the way Jasprit Bumrah bowled that over. It was Virat Kohli's way of telling the English seamers, look, there's nothing here for the seamers. Like, you're not going to get any joy out of this Archer, Anderson and Broad, which was true after the first 3 or 4 overs. The ball did not, they showed how much it was swinging from 1.2 degrees to 0.3 degrees. So it really did stop swinging after the first 6 overs. So you never know. I think you introduced this whole 5D chess business into cricket. I blame you. Now, yes. Every time a captain makes any move, they think, this has Melinda Farrell written all over it.
I'm a trendsetter.
Of course you are.
Now, Nakul Pandey nominates as bad the life and career prospects of whichever poor engineer is responsible for keeping the lights going at what we can now officially call the Modi Dome. At one point, I was thinking, guys, someone forgotten to put the coins in the meter. A couple of times. You don't want that when you're opening a brand new stadium. It looked amazing, by the way. It looked really impressive. Every wide shot just looked the bomb, but that was quite funny with the lights going off. They were trying to turn it into a positive. You could hear on commentary saying, "Oh, it doesn't take them very long to get them up because they're LED lights." But it'd be like, we don't want this happening.
Especially, there you go. Yeah, I don't even want to do that, but especially when you have the kind of dignitaries that were present yesterday. The Home Minister, the President of the country was there for a while, and they kept showing him on. Like, if you ever wanted to know how sports and politics come together, or cricket and politics come together in India. You just had to watch the TV yesterday. I thought the politicians got as much airtime as some of the cricketers, at least as much as Virat Kohli. But you know how it is in a new house or a new place, right, Mel? There will be a lot of switches, lots of buttons, and you don't know what switch goes for what. So I'm sure somebody was just walking around saying, are you sure this switches off the light in this room and not everywhere else? And one of them was like, yeah, I'm sure. Just switch everything off and see. And I think they just pushed a couple of switches, and yeah, it happened 2 or 3 times. But yeah, I was surprised. Do we have a nomination about Ben Stokes and the saliva?
No, we'll get to that. We don't have that yet. I'm going to give you a chance to nominate your own ones, or maybe someone's about to in the comments.
Oh, I look forward to it. But
cut on the comments.
Yeah, I mean, it was a perfect opportunity. We saw a random person run onto the ground. Thankfully, not get too close to any of the cricketers. That would have been a massive bubble breach. But if I was him, I would do that when the lights were switched off and nobody could see me.
You're a bad person. Now, Amitayu Sengupta nominates as good Pope's anticipation and the chance he created for Rohit's catch. Bad, Pope dropping an easy catch in the next over. It was such a great example of a really great moment followed by a really bad moment, wasn't it? It was great anticipation for the catch. That was brilliant by Pope. Look, we talked about that catching or fielding mistakes could be incredibly important. England in particular, they have to take every single chance. So dropping a sitter it could be incredibly costly, although I think the batting's probably more costly so far.
Yeah, I mean, it was and Ollie Pope was brilliant in the gully at short leg. We've seen him take some great catches. He was excellent in the gully early on. Like, he kept throwing himself around and stopping balls, which easily could have gone for a couple of runs or even for a boundary. It was almost like he didn't expect something that straightforward to come to him, because rarely we've seen so many cricket teams practice slip catching before the game, or even like 2-3 days leading into it, right? And I've always wondered, Mel, I'm sure you have as well, when are they ever going to get catches like that in the test match? Because they'll always start off with these very straightforward chances, but rarely do you get those kind of chances in a test match. So I think Ollie Pope was not prepared for something, so he was still trying to create opportunities out of nowhere. So were England, and that ball just appeared straight into his hands, and it went through. Lucky for England that they got Kohli out soon after.
Yeah, I'm just noticing on the comments, Srish Kumar commented, said maybe the umpire saw the complete replay inside the room, but it might not have shown on the screen. I don't think so, because it had happened too fast. So he made the decision based on that one replay. Interestingly, on the broadcast, as far as I could see, we weren't shown any other replays either, which I think sometimes might happen to protect the third umpire a little bit. But usually you would see after a decision, even if they've only gone off one replay, you would see other angles being shown. So it's interesting to me that we didn't see any other angles of that whole thing. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, Wani, but the only thing they did show was just the extension of that same replay. If when Shamsuddin made the call, he made the call when you can just see the ball there. But then I think whenever they went back to the commentators, they showed the next 2 or 3 frames where it looked even worse, because you could see the ball seemed to be dragged on the
I think that's probably it. Just looking through to see if I can see maybe another comment that's coming in. A couple of people disagreeing with me, of course. Some people agreeing. Some people saying umpiring is horrible. Some people saying I'm wrong. Someone saying bad. Nagarajan, bad. Kohli's emotion took his wicket rather than blower's effort. His mind took rest and heart took over to play that shot to get out. Maybe.
Yeah, he did look very, very disappointed. But I think it was just another case of expecting the ball to turn and it not turning. Yeah, it was classic. It was an Akshar Patel, Jack Leach straight ball day.
Exactly. So it's a few comments coming in from those. Thank you for those. But I am going to hand it over because we've been going for quite some time now to Bharat. So you've heard the nominations. What was the goodest thing about day one?
I think the goodest thing about day one has to be Akshar Patel. I looked up his record at the Motera Stadium, the same stadium. He played one game, bowled 43 overs, and taken one wicket. Sure, it was a different pitch, but brand new stadium, the who's who of Indian politics and cricket, and everybody's there. Your home fans are there to take 6 wickets. Maybe he didn't even expect to be playing a test match 6 months ago. So I think he deserved it. Hopefully we'll see him do something with the bat today.
And we have got another late nomination for bad. So consider this in your baddest. Manish Chetri nominating as, well, ridiculous, but I think in a bad way. The bowler's landing area, just put some water in it, and that's your artificial pond.
Yeah, you could see like Stuart Broad's ankle kind of. I was actually thinking about it, Mel. Imagine an umpire telling a bowler, mate, I don't think you can bowl from this end. You're too heavy to bowl from this end. I wonder how that comment would go down.
Yeah. So what about for you? What was your baddest thing of the day?
Has to be England's really shambolic batting, as one of our viewers put it. See, there's one thing you can just look at a pitch and say, this has our name written on it. Every ball that comes, it could get us out. Ben Stokes' reaction after he got out, I thought was quite poor. You could see almost like blaming the pitch without blaming the pitch. Just that expression on his face, like, oh, what can anyone do on this pitch? I don't think it's that bad a pitch, to be honest. And we'll see if it is or it is not today.
Yeah, and I know your ridiculousest thing is going to be Ben Stokes' backwash.
Yeah, it is. It does happen. Even in junior cricket, you see, because people are just so used to whether it's handing your cap to the umpire or just using saliva. It's just a thing that you've done all your life. But for me, the most ridiculous part of it was him doing it right in front of the umpire. Speak of honesty. He's like, Nitin Menon's just there and he's like standing right in front of him and doing it. Like I said earlier, if he really wanted to, he could have waited when the lights went off and gone to a corner and done it. But no, he wanted to do it in front of the umpire and got a warning out of it. But that's just cricket in the COVID era.
Isn't it, though? It was a very, very strange thing. Well, that's how we've summed up the good, the bad, and the ridiculous. Let us know what you think politely. Of course, we're all about even we can disagree politely. It's all about that. And give us a like, put the bell on to notify you of our next live show, which will be at the same time tomorrow when we will dissect day 2. Who knows what it will hold? We'll find out. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.